11 months after the move, the envelope from the insurance company is sitting on the kitchen counter in Sarasota, and Diane has read it twice. $7,136 for the same coverage that cost them $1,616 in San Diego. Ray does the arithmetic out loud because saying it is the only way to make it feel real. They left California to stop paying California income tax. Last year, that tax bill was $1,108. So they are now paying $5,520 more every single year to get out of a bill of $1,108. The insurance alone costs 5 times the thing they moved to escape. And the house in San Diego sold in March. It is somebody else's house now. There is no version of this where they simply change their minds. Ray is 68, Diane is 66, and they did nothing careless. They read the same articles you have read. Every retirement guide, every advisor, and every neighbor who already did it says the same thing. Move to a state with no income tax. Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Nevada. 9 states take nothing at all. There is no state form, no state bracket, no state bite. After 40 years of watching money leave before it ever reached you, a state that simply does not ask is genuinely appealing, and Walter understands the pull completely. Everyone who gave Ray and Diane that advice was right about the tax. Not one of them mentioned the other 4 numbers, because there are 4, and the insurance is only the second one. Today, Walter is going to walk you through all 4 in the order they actually reach you. The bill that lands at the closing table before a single dollar has been saved. The one that shows up 12 months later and then never stops. The protection Ray and Diane assumed would travel with them and did not. And the letter that can arrive 4 years after the move and reach back across every year in between. Stay with me for that last one. It is the only one of the 4 that can undo the entire decision after it has already been made, and it is the one nobody sees coming. Walter wants to be fair to the other side of this argument before he takes it apart. $1,108 is not nothing. Over 20 years, ignoring growth, that is more than $22,000. Nobody should hand that over cheerfully. But for Ray and Diane, and for most people watching, the tax bill is small for one specific reason. California exempts Social Security entirely, and Social Security is a large share of their income. The state can only touch what is left, and what is left sits in California's lowest brackets, the 1%, the 2%, and the 4%. The number people picture when they think about California is 13.3%. That rate exists. It applies to income above $1 million. It has nothing to do with a retired couple in San Diego, and quoting it is how this decision gets sold. So the honest starting point is this. Ray and Diane are not escaping a fortune. They are escaping $1,108 a year. Now watch what it costs them to do it. Cost 1 arrives immediately, and people wave it away because it feels like the price of moving rather than the price of the tax decision. It is both. Ray and Diane's San Diego house is worth $850,000. They bought it in 1994. The national average real estate commission in 2026 is 5.7%. That is down from the old 6%, and it is negotiable now in a way it was not 2 years ago, but it is not zero. On $850,000, 5.7% is $48,450. Then the move itself. A cross-country move of a 3 or 4 bedroom home runs from $3,850 at the low end to over $15,250 at the high end. And that quote covers loading, transport, and unloading. That is all it covers. Fuel surcharges, valuation coverage, additional stops, and a shuttle fee when the truck cannot reach the door are every one of them billed on top of the number you were quoted. Add the title work, the transfer taxes, and the repairs the buyer asks for, and the typical seller spends around $55,000 in total. Call it $52,000, conservatively, to leave one house and land in another. Here is what Walter wants you to sit with. Ray and Diane are spending roughly $52,000 in a single afternoon in order to begin saving $1,108 a year. At that rate, the move pays for itself in year 47. Ray is 68 years old. Cost 2 shows up about 12 months in, and it is the one that ends the argument. Homeowners insurance, averaged nationally on a standard policy with $300,000 of dwelling coverage, looks like this. The national average is $2,543. Florida is $7,136. That is 181% above the national average. Texas is $4,085. Tennessee is $2,958. Now look at the states people are leaving. California is $1,616. New York is $1,683. New Jersey is $1,421, the cheapest in the country. Read that again because it is the whole video. The states with the highest income taxes in America have some of the cheapest homeowners insurance in America. The states with no income tax at all have the most expensive. That is not a coincidence. It is hurricane exposure, the cost of reinsurance, and a repair market that has priced in 20 years of storms. Florida is not overcharging them. It is charging what it costs to insure a house in Florida. For our couple, moving from California to Florida, insurance goes from $1,616 to $7,136. $5,520 more every year for the same size policy on a smaller house. They came to save $1,108 in tax. The insurance line alone costs them 5 times that much. And this is not a one-time cost like the move. It renews. It is there in year 1 and year 10 and year 20. And in Florida, it has been climbing, not falling. Walter has been talking about Florida, and Florida is the extreme case. There are 9 states with no income tax, and the insurance argument is not the same in all of them. You deserve to know where your destination sits before you take any of this personally. Texas averages $4,085. That is 61% above the national average. Coming from California, it is still $2,469 a year of new cost, which is more than double Ray and Diane's entire California tax bill. The argument is smaller in Texas. It is not gone. Tennessee averages $2,958, 16% above national. Coming from California, that is a little over $1,300 a year of extra insurance, against $1,108 of tax saved. In Tennessee, on insurance alone, the move is roughly a wash, and Nevada averages $1,774, which is below the national average and only about $160 a year more than California. In Nevada, the insurance argument almost completely disappears. So if you have been listening to this thinking Walter is describing a decision you are not making, you may be right, and he is not going to pretend otherwise. The insurance case is overwhelming for Florida, real for Texas, marginal for Tennessee, and close to nothing for Nevada. But here is the part that does not change with the destination. The commission on your house is the same whether the truck drives to Sarasota or to Reno. The moving cost is the same. The property tax reset is the same idea in every state, because the shelter you built up over decades was tied to the house you just sold, not to you. And the fourth cost, the one arriving in an envelope years later, does not care where you went at all. California is not asking whether Nevada was cheaper. California is asking whether you actually left. 3 of the 4 costs are destination blind. Only the insurance line moves. So the right way to run this is to take the one number that changes, put it against your own tax bill, and then add the 3 that do not change no matter where the truck is going. Walter is going to draw a line here, because this does not land the same way for everyone, and you deserve to know which side of it you are standing on. The California tax bill scales with income. The insurance gap does not. Insurance costs what it costs whether you pull $60,000 a year or $300,000. At $140,000 a year, like Ray and Diane, California takes $1,108 and the insurance costs $5,520. The move loses badly. At $172,000, California takes about $2,846, still losing, and by thousands. Somewhere around $190,000 of gross retirement income those two numbers cross. And above that line, the tax saving does start to beat the insurance gap. So if you are drawing well over $200,000 a year, this video's headline is not your situation, and Walter will not pretend otherwise. Below that line, and that is most people watching, it is exactly your situation. And two costs have not even landed yet. Cost 3 is genuinely invisible until the first tax bill arrives. And it is invisible because of a benefit almost everyone assumes travels with them. Florida has a rule called Save Our Homes. Once you hold a Florida homestead, your assessed value cannot rise more than 3% in a year, no matter what the market does around you. Over 20 years, that becomes an enormous shield, and it is why long-time residents pay so little, while a new neighbor pays so much for an identical house. There is also a feature called portability, which lets you carry that accumulated shield with you, up to $500,000 of it, when you move. Now here is the sentence that costs people real money. The county's own words. Portability transfers your benefit to a new home within the state of Florida. Within the state of Florida. If you are moving to Florida from anywhere else, you get none of it. Not a reduced share. None. You are assessed at full market value on the day you close, and the 3% cap starts counting from that brand new, higher number. Ray and Diane are leaving a house they bought in 1994, sheltered behind a California assessment that has been capped since the year they moved in. They buy in Sarasota County for $525,000. Sarasota's effective property tax rate is 0.75%. On full market value, with no history and no shelter, that is $3,937 a year, starting immediately. They traded a 30-year-old assessment for a brand new one, and they did it deliberately, believing the protection would come with them. And now the one that almost nobody plans for, because it does not arrive with the move. It arrives years later in an envelope. Hold. You have heard of the 183-day rule. Spend less than half the year in a state and you are not a resident of that state. Simple, clean, easy to plan around. Hold. California does not use that rule. California uses a test called closest connection, and it asks a completely different question. Not how many days were you here, where is your life? And the state is explicit that you can spend fewer than 183 days in California and still be treated as a California resident if your closest connections never actually left. Where your home is and whether it is still sitting there waiting for you. Where your spouse and children are. Where your cars are registered. Your driver's license. Your voter registration. Where you bank. Where your doctor and your accountant are. Your club memberships. And it cross-references all of it against motor vehicle records, county recorders, employers, and brokerage firms. No single factor decides it. That is the point, and it is the part that makes this hard to plan around. There is no one box you can tick and be safe. And now the two things Walter most wants you to take away from this video. First, the Franchise Tax Board has 4 years from the date you file a return to come back and assess more tax. 6 years if they decide there was a substantial understatement. And if you never filed a California return at all, there is no deadline, none. That window simply stays open. Second, and please read this one twice. 2 of the specific patterns that trigger a California residency audit are a part-year return showing a move to a state with no income tax and continuing to own California property. That is not a coincidence. That is a description of this exact move. So Ray and Diane save $1,108 a year, and 3 years later, if they kept a rental or a car registration or the same doctor they have used for 20 years, California can ask them to prove they truly left and can reach back across every year in between. That is the cost nobody counts. and it is the only one of the four that can undo the entire decision after the fact. Let Walter put the four together. $52,000 once at the closing table. $5,520 a year in insurance, $3,937 a year in property tax on an assessment with nothing behind it, and an audit window that stays open for 4 years on a move whose own shape is a documented trigger, against $1,108 a year. Walter is not telling you never to move. Move to be near your grandchildren, for the weather, for your health, or because you have wanted to since you were 40. Those are good reasons, and no spreadsheet outranks them. But if the reason sitting at the top of your list is state income tax, you are owed the real number before you list the house. If nobody had ever put these 4 costs beside that tax bill for you, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Somewhere out there is a couple with a moving quote on the kitchen table and a number in their head that is off by a factor of 5. This channel exists so they see the arithmetic while the house is still theirs. Here is your one job this week. Pull last year's state tax return and find the actual tax you paid your state, not the rate, the dollars. Write that number on a piece of paper and put it somewhere you will see it. That single figure is the entire prize you would be moving for, and almost nobody who moves has ever looked it up. One honest word before you go. Your state, your income mix, your home equity, and how much of your income is Social Security all change these numbers, and some of them change them a great deal. If you are drawing well over $200,000 a year, the arithmetic here genuinely can flip. Sit down with a fee-only advisor or a CPA and run your own 4 numbers before you commit to a move. What Walter has given you today is the trade and the 4 costs that get left out of it. A good advisor turns that into your decision. I'm Walter. Your money is important, but your time and your health are priceless. Run the numbers before you pack the truck. I'll see you in the next one.